So yeah, pretty interesting week of updates, really. I mean, I think one of the biggest points to take away from all this is never trust a circuit. Just never trust them. I mean, they're bound to fuck something up later on down the line. So yeah, I think that's a lesson to be learned from all this. But again, I'll leave that to the end. Well, close to the end. I mean, there's other stuff to talk about, like at the beginning of the week, Saturday. Um, so yeah, more of John mucking around in Homestuck and trying to interact with Caliborn as he continues his ideas of the story. I don't know, part of me feels like this could have lent itself to a really great scene, like, say, for example, if John's powers allowed him to hop out of Homestuck and appear to Caliborn while he's working on Homestuck in front of the console or something. That would have been very interesting. But again, not really much to say. Not really much to say about that scene, and of course, Homestuck just ends and leads into intermission 2. So, I think that's one of the reasons why I've decided to opt out of not doing a daily video, because sometimes it can be a little bit interesting, like how John's expressions during some of the moments in Homestuck were pretty hilarious, but nothing really worth mentioning. Really, nothing really important to talk about. But of course, the important stuff happened. The important stuff happened afterwards as we led into intermission 2. First off, we get a callback to the tower and it getting built up, and we figure out that it's Jane who's building it up to get to Jake's gates. And this is really interesting to me. I can't remember the name of Jake's denizen. I'll look it up later and try and I'll look it up later, but I'm interested to know why they want to meet Jake's denizen. I remember how the Condes wanted to try and get in contact with Echidna, but Echidna just didn't want to talk to them. So I'm wondering what Jake's denizen has, and how important Jake's denizen is, and whether or not he'll be as equally as important as Echidna could be. Who knows? But then, of course, more interesting things happen after that, as we learn that Gamzee was inside the fridge the whole time, and lo and behold, he has the ring on, and we think to ourselves, it's like, oh, who the heck is he trying to bring back to life? And then we find out that he's getting mind-controlled by a circuit, and immediately we think to ourselves that it's Vriska. I mean, she's already bitter enough about John not giving her the ring, so obviously she's trying to do this in order to come back to life. But then we learn that it's Arania. Now, I won't call it the best twist that Homestuck has given us, but it certainly is one of the best ones. I mean, I could not have seen that coming. I mean, granted, Arania has had her moments where she seems a little bit more than what she seems, but I honestly did not expect her to do something like this, especially mind-controlling Gamzee. And you really got to ask yourself, how long has that been going on? How long has she been controlling Gamzee to do these things? And with Kurlo, and a couple of updates ago, with Kurlos taking Vriska's jacket, you got to wonder why he did that. But considering that we now know that Arania has been controlling Gamzee, what if she's also controlling Kurlos? How many other trolls is she controlling? And then, of course, as she puts the ring on, she's now back to life, and she gets a call from Mina saying that, you know, this plan is absolutely ridiculous. And that plan is that she's planning on killing, well, not killing, but making sure that the session fails and does not bear fruit in order to stop Lord English from ever being born. Now, that is very interesting because, in many regards, her plan is very similar to Vriska's plan. Now, hear me out. Both Arania and Vriska had plans in order to save their session, but in doing so, they're relying so much on their powers, and they believe that they can do so much with their powers that obviously they're going to win. Their powers are going to lead them to winning against this major threat. However, as we saw through Terezi's power as to what happened what would have happened if Vriska fought against Jack Noir with her Thief of Light powers, we saw that it wouldn't have gone well. Yes, it would have continued on, but Vriska just wouldn't win. Part of me thinks that the same thing is going to happen with Arania. She has good intentions, and when I heard her plan, yeah, it sounds reasonable. It sounds like something that could work. But when you really think about it, she's getting overconfident about what her powers can do. Their overconfidence is their weakness. Just quoted Star Wars, I think. Yeah, well, the quote is relevant nonetheless. So, of course, she puts her plan into motion, though, one thing I do have to note is when she lets Gamzee out of her control, and he just goes ballistic. I have to admit that is pretty funny, and of course her just taking control of it is like, no, just no. I gotta love that. I mean, it's just a perfect callback to Sober Gamzee, and actually I really gotta wonder whether or not this whole time he has been controlled, and that's the entire reason as to why he's been so demure and calm like he used to be. It's very interesting nonetheless. So anyways, she begins her plan with levitating the ship. But it's not her who's levitating it, it's a group of Damaras in a dream bubble. Now this is really interesting. Again, how many trolls are under her control? How many people are under her control? And how long has this been going on? But nonetheless, the Damaras lift the ship and take it over to Durst, and Jane comes across it and talks to Jade, saying, it's like, something's going on, and Mina's doing the same to Karkat. Now, I don't know what Mina wants Karkat to do. Obviously, it has something to do with Arania, but I don't know. Part of me thinks, what does Mina exactly expect Karkat can do? And what can he do? I don't know. And of course, Arania takes herself and meets up with Jake. Now, I'm actually interested in this because if it turns out that Arania just wants to talk to Jake in order to further her own agendas in trying to make this work, then that is going to be very bad for the guy. I mean, he's getting pulled on one side by Jane, who wants him to be her breeding ground for heirs and heiresses, and now we have Arania, who might plan on using him in order to not make the session happen. Who doesn't want the session to bear fruits. And, oh, poor guy, though I have to admit that his dreaming of Neytiri was a little bit awkward. So yeah, not much else to talk about. Great week of updates, and even greater twist that was revealed in between. I think a lot of people did not see that coming, and yeah, I'm just interested to see where it goes. So, hope you guys enjoyed this week of updates as much as I did, and look forward to seeing what the next week has in store for us. So, we'll see you later.